When you want to change your life, sometimes all you need to do is to take the first step. You take the first step into the unknown and the rest will follow. And the first step is often the hardest because we don't know what we're getting into. But it's about trusting the process. It's about trusting that first step. And this first step is different for everyone. You maybe found this video because you think you're ready for a change in your life. You're ready for a new beginning. But maybe where to start or how to do this is overwhelming, or maybe you just don't know how to start this process. So this first step differs for everyone. It really depends on your current situation, and no one else except you knows what is best for you. So you also know what first step is best for you to take. If you don't know what you want to change or in what area of your life you want to change, you can just write down the question. Like, what is a step I can take to change my life? And just put it aside, put it on your desk, put it in your pocket, put it in your wallet maybe. For me, almost half a year ago, one step that I had to take was to move out of the city where I was living for 4 years. All of my friends are living there, but I noticed that things were not moving forward. I feel like I was stuck because I was living there, partly. I was also part of the problem. But somewhere deep down, I knew that I was not meant to live in the city because I'm too sensitive for the constant noise, for me, it feels like pressure around me, and I'm not made for those kind of environments. So I decided to move out of the city, and it has been one of the best decisions of my life. And okay, this is a big step. Not all these changes in life have to be big steps, but I wanted to give you an example of one of these steps that occurred in my own life. Later, I will share another one. You probably have a theme in mind for you right now at this moment, where you want to see a difference. And this could be, maybe you want to start a new hobby, maybe you want to start exercising, maybe you want to start working on your mental health. But there is a goal in mind, for example, to be fit. And I feel like if something feels so far away, the steps to get there are so overwhelming that it's hard to actually start. And that's why I made this video, because sometimes it's easier to just take out all the noise and just focus on one simple thing instead of trying to figure out how you can get to the end. So you want to build momentum instead of perfection. And so instead of trying to already aim for your intended way of living, or instead of trying to aim for that perfection, it's easier to just start small and don't have expectations of where it's going to bring you. Because when you do it without expectations, the way there becomes more enjoyable. And also, maybe you're going to be surprised by the results instead of comparing your current state to where you want to be constantly. And I know I did this in my life as well. Trying to, or looking at the people around me, or looking at life in general, and just asking so much of yourself that it's hard to actually continue something because you're already feeling like things are lacking in the middle of the process. But like they always say, Rome is not built in one day. The same, like your dream is not built in one day. But if you can start now with the first step, then you can get to Rome. Depending where you live, it takes a long time to walk. And of course, it's easier said than done. But it's also easier than it looks. Because the first step is, I think, the hardest. And if you have built this momentum, it becomes part of your routine. So you want to build upon day and just keep it small, but doable for yourself to keep this routine up, to dedicate, let's say 5 or 10 minutes a day to change that version of yourself until it becomes normal. Don't overshoot it. Don't try to run the first 2-3 days to your destiny to then be tired, so you need to recover for the rest of the week, then to start again the week after, because that, I think, is harder to maintain than to start small and then feel your way up. So, for example, for me, when I started meditating, instead of trying to aim for 20 minutes a day, which can be a solution for people, it also, at a certain moment, I needed to ask myself, like, okay, I think I need to up my game in meditation if I want to get to a certain place mentally. So then I decided to dedicate 20 minutes a day. But in the beginning, this was not possible. And if you make it so hard for yourself, it's not doable. It's harder to keep track. And actually, before diving into meditation, I think it's more important to look for, to really say, okay, this is step one. Step one is not start meditating. Maybe it is for you, if you know that. But maybe the first step to start meditating is to watch a review video of meditation apps to decide which app you want to use or which app you want to try out. So this was a kind of a little hack I found for myself when I wanted to learn something new, or I was working on a project and then I didn't know the next steps, but it felt like too big, so I started procrastinating. I just gave myself permission to watch a tutorial on YouTube about how to do that certain thing that I was gonna do. And in that way, I was building an image of how I could approach this thing. For example, maybe you want to do sports. Instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna run now, and then the next day you have to build up the motivation again to do it. Why don't you take 10 minutes or half an hour to create a very minimalistic plan of doing more sports? And this can be 10 push-ups a day. And if you do 10 push-ups a day for a week, then maybe you can change the plan and make it 15, or maybe you want to start at 2 push-ups a day, or whatever fits to you. You are the best guide for yourself. So really listen to yourself, how you want to do this. Or you want to start a new hobby. Instead of buying all the tools that you think you need to start the hobby, you can also watch a tutorial, like I said before, on this specific hobby, and then maybe you find this little twinkle inside of you that gives you this push of like, okay, this is the tools that I need, or this is the kind of things that I want to work with, this is what I want to create. For me, this is the first video that I will post on YouTube. To get to the point of actually recording it was, I feel like it was a bit of a hurdle, but at the same time, by breaking it down and just asking myself, what is the first thing I want to talk about? This idea came up. And instead of trying to perfect the story, I decided to write down the things that came to mind and then just start recording. Maybe this is the 10th time I pressed record on my camera, but that doesn't matter. The fact is that I decided to sit down to record the video, and when the video is recorded, then I can edit it so it will fit to what I want to publish. Instead of trying to make the perfect story first, spend time writing for a couple of days till you have the perfect story. And this might be the way you want to approach this, but for me, this is the way it works. And that's also what I wrote down as the last point, is be honest to yourself. What feels good to you? Don't try to mimic other people's life, because I think this is one of the best things we can do, is to start listening to ourselves. Again, this example of me moving out of the city, I could compare, and I did compare myself, and I did wonder, like, why is this a problem for me? Why am I making it so difficult for myself? But I wasn't making it difficult for myself. Well, I was making it difficult for myself to stay in the city. By choosing after that for my own life, for my own happiness, that's when things started to change, or that's when I got the space for things to change. And of course, there's a big fear of missing out the moment I decided to move out, and the moment I felt like I was leaving my friends behind. But the truth is, I feel like because I'm happier now, that means that I can spend more, the time I spend with my friends is better, or I am more happy. So it's just an improvement in everything instead of a decrease. And that's also, it's really about stepping into the unknown, trusting the process. But like I said before, don't try to aim for perfection, but aim for momentum. So if there is one little thing you can change in your life right now, you can write it down. You can make a little plan. You can search a tutorial. Write down this first step and do it. Just don't overshoot. Don't expect too much of yourself. But by doing this first step, maybe you create the momentum for the second step to appear easier. Don't rush it. Don't be hard on yourself if it doesn't work, because sometimes it doesn't. Maybe you have to do the first step 5 times. Who knows? Because you can always start again. But don't blame yourself for it, because that's where you're putting more pressure on yourself. Well, the fact that it didn't work out already hurts, so you're just gonna push on top of you're gonna push in the wound. How do you say this? You're just putting more pressure on yourself after putting pressure on yourself. So just try it out. Try to be free, try to stay open. And I think once in a podcast I heard, try to be 1% better every day. They called it compounding. The compounding of every day you improve a little bit so that in the end the change is drastic, instead of when you try to perfect this whole plan here and you wait 5 years, okay, I'm exaggerating, but you wait months for it to publish, or you wait months for it to until you reach that point of perfection. I don't think you will reach the point of perfection, because maybe that's an illusion. You can choose, for example, this video that I'm making now, I choose that this video is going to be perfect in my mind. Maybe not in reality, and that's okay. But the fact that I choose it makes it easier to start. So when you want to do 2 push-ups today and you can check it off, that's perfect. If you decide that that's perfect for you, then that's perfect, right? It's your perception, it's your life, it's your decision. You can decide what's good for you. So, what is your step 1? I would say write it down. Maybe you don't have to write it down. Maybe you just have to do it. Think about it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.